Hello students, good evening. I hope I am audible and visible to all of you. Hi Sayali. Okay, now let's begin the session today. See, before I begin, let me briefly, for those of you who don't know me, to whom I'm new, my name is Deepika Reddy. I have been teaching students preparing for civil services for about 11 years now. This is my 12th year as a teacher. I basically handle Indian polity, society, social justice, ethics, integrity, and aptitude and governance. This is about my profile. Now, Unacademy Aspire is a new initiative by Unacademy, of wherein they are conducting all India free mock tests for civil service aspirants on paper 1. These tests will be held on every month, the 10th and 25th of every month. See, prizes are there. This is one thing that can actually entice you to write the exam. But more than this, what is important is it is an all India test. You will have many people taking the test. Competitive exams is all about relative performance. That is the reason why it is very, very important to participate in such exams because you know where you stand, how you are going to go ahead in future. Okay, now the next thing is apart from this, Unacademy Championship 2.0, the last test will be held on 27th September. That is tomorrow. This will be the last test. This is a series of tests that were conducted on an all India level where you had thousands of students writing. Participation in this again will help you to know your relative performance. Now you have exactly not even 10 days, 8 days for your exam. Apart from the free platform, an academy also has the subscription model wherein you can learn from the comfort of your house. You'll have exhaustive coverage of the syllabus. You'll have study material available, unlimited access to all courses. Regular doubt clearing sessions will be there, answer writing sessions will be there. Top educators of India will be on one platform. You'll have a live test series, mentorship and guidance. This will be the benefit of the Plus subscription. Now, these are all the batches, these are all the benefits of joining the Plus subscription. Basically, you have three batches starting. One is on 28th September, three batches starting on the same day, Monday, the 28th of September. This is a English batch. You know, you will have classes in both Hindi and English. It's a bilingual batch. This is an exclusive Hindi batch and this is an exclusive English batch. The benefit of batch courses is you will have top educators associated. The entire timetable schedule will be planned by an academy. You just have to go tag along and just go through the classes. So it will be very, very systematic. Apart from that, for the 2020 prelims, there is a revision booster series where the entire syllabus has been divided and teachers have been asked to revise the specific areas. Okay, this will be very, very useful for your revision, prelims revision. It is from 5th to 30th September, Monday to Friday, these classes are held. And apart from that, you also have sectional quizzes as a part of the revision booster series. Okay, now if at all you're planning to enroll for an academy, this is my referral code deepam.2108. You can use this referral code to get an additional 10% discount. Earlier it was 64,000, now 57,600 is being charged. Okay. Now, apart from that, T20 daily current affairs series, test series is being held every day at 7:30. The benefit of this is, you'll be able to know whether you're following the current affairs, you're on the right track of in following the current affairs or not. So you can go through these T20 daily current affairs series as well. These are the various avenues where you can follow the an academy platform. Now, coming to this particular initiative, in this course, I'm actually handling class 11 NCERT book, text book, Constitution at Work. Okay, at work. Right? Now, in this, today I'll be completing chapter 1. Basically, chapter 1 deals with constitution, what and how. Okay, this chapter I've already taken 2 sessions wherein I have discussed the various, basically, this can be understood in three things, three manners. The first is constitution definition. I have completed this, and purpose of constitution we have. Good evening, Amma Elizabeth. Of constitution also we have completed, where I spoke about the first thing is, constitution ensures that there is minimal coordination in society. Day before yesterday, the first session, I explained minimal coordination. Then it talks about allocation of power, nothing but government. See, I am doing this recap. It will take not more than 3 or 4 minutes, but you'll have the flow. That is the reason I'm doing the recap. Allocation of power is nothing but government authorities, powers, and functions. Then it deals, when you're talking about allocation of power, you should also deal with limitation of power. I explained limitation of power, the meaning of constitutionalism, and so on here. Then we talk about a government fulfilling the aspirations of people. Constitution ensuring that the government fulfills the aspirations of the society, the people, the society. And the last purpose of the constitution is to give an identity to people, political and moral identity to people. These things I have explained day before. I have explained these points. Yesterday I explained these two. Along with this, I also explained about the framing of Constitution of India. I basically talked about the composition of Constituent Assembly. I just didn't talk about the composition as in the numbers, how it was formed, but I also told about the significance, the importance, the significance of the profile of members, significance of the profile of members in making a successful constitution. This was the members in making a successful constitution. This was the last thing that I dealt with as far as I remember. This is what we have discussed yesterday. How they were successful. I said that they were leaders of great repute. They were totally trusted. There was a lot of morality in their work, and this actually ensured This actually ensured a lot of morality in their work. This actually ensured that people trusted their actions, people trusted the constitution they made, to the extent that without any referendum, without the Constituent Assembly being a directly elected body, people have accepted that the constitution comes from them. The constitution of India flows from the people of the country. They accepted this as a fact. Now, this is where we stopped yesterday. Today, I am going to continue. As I said yesterday, I am giving you the headings that are given in NCERT and then explaining the cut so that you will be able to relate to it when you are studying. The next heading talks about substantive provisions of the Constitution. This is the example, this is the heading given in NCERT. NCERT talks about this heading. Now I'll explain what is the relevance of it and why it is connected. See, this from here on they talk about the success, how the Constitution of India is success of Constitution of India. How did it happen? How did the framing of the Constitution lead to its success? That is what they explain. Now, substantive provisions of the Constitution. See, Indian Constitution is successful for various reasons. one of the reasons why it is successful is because people have accepted it, they followed it. Now, this particular point tells us, why did people accept it? Um, why did they follow it? What made them accept it and what made them follow it? See, basically it says that the hallmark of a successful constitution. Let me first tell you what is given in NCERT. Then I'll tell you in simple words what it means. That is, that hallmark of a successful constitution is that it gives everyone in the society some reason to go along with its provisions. Hi, Prakar. Okay, this is what it says. You know, everyone in the society will have a reason to go along with its provisions. Okay, the meaning of this, this is one reason. The meaning of this is everyone has something for them in the constitution, for them in the constitution. When there is something for me in it, I will follow. For example, when we talk about India, India talks about different sections of society: women, SC, ST, minorities, children, senior citizens, and the list continues. Okay, physically disabled, and so on. These are the sections of society. If you notice, our constitution ensures that there is something for each of them in it. For example, for women, we have articles like 15, articles like 39, D. Okay, for SCs, we have 17, we have 23. For STs, we have Schedule 5, Schedule 6. I'm just giving you examples, okay? For minorities, we have 29 and 30. For children, we have 21A, we have 23. Okay, for senior citizens, we have provisions and directive principles of state policy which talks about social benefit. In retirement, in old age, social security in old age. So, like this, when there is something for everybody in the constitution, automatically everybody would be very interested in following it. So, a hallmark of a successful constitution is that it gives everyone in the society some reason to go along with its provisions, can be taken as a question for mains and practiced for 150 to 200 words. Elucidate or write, analyze in context of Indian constitution can be asked. Now, apart from this, another important reason why the constitution was successful is the constitution not just gave everybody something for them, something in it for them to follow the constitution. It also ensured that, see, basically, I'll write it in the next page. It ensured that the more a constitution. See, certain statements I'm taking as it is and giving to you because, as I said, I'll help you to frame, to make a small synopsis of the whole thing so that you're able to easily revise and recollect. Freedom and equality of all its members. The more likely it is to succeed. Okay, this is what is given. The meaning of this is simple, to conclude, it is two things. One is the constitution ensures that there is something for each section of society. No problem, yeah, in it. That is the first thing. The second thing is the Constitution preserves by giving something for each section in society. It is preserving the freedom and equality of its members. Okay. By doing this, it is preserving the freedom and equality of the members. Are we clear with this? Did you understand, all of you? Okay, this is about the substantive provisions of a constitution. Constitution of India is successful because of its composition, because of the profile of the leaders, because of the fact that it had something for each and every member of the society. The constitution is also successful because the next thing also talks about the success of the constitution. Now, the next thing that it speaks about is balanced institutional design. Balanced institutional design. Now, what do we mean by balanced institutional design? See, as I said, if you remember the concept that I explained in constitutionalism, I spoke about a concept called constitutionalism. Okay, I'll relate this to constitutionalism. Constitutionalism basically means, the philosophy behind having a constitution is to have a limited government. How do you ensure that the government is limited? One way of ensuring that the government is limited is by imposing certain restrictions. Another way of ensuring that the government is limited is by fragmentation of power in society. What do you mean by this? I'm using this word because it is used in NCERTs. It simply means that instead of having all power vested in authority, in single authority, you simply divide power. Okay, divide power between various authorities. When you divide power between various authorities, what automatically happens is, because nobody is too powerful, the other will check. Everybody has some power. I have some power, you have some power, somebody else has some power. So everybody has some power or the other. This will actually help you. This will actually help in controlling the government, in ensuring that there is limited government. So it is very, very important that we ensure that there is some power and the power is divided between various authorities. Each authority will act as a check. It will create a very good checks and system of checks and balances. So one way of ensuring that there is a balanced institutional design is by division of powers between authorities. Having a single authority with all power will lead to monopoly, and we do not want monopoly in limited government. This is not allowed in limited government. So what we do is, instead of having monopoly in one government, we will see that the power is divided so that there is nobody who is too powerful and each authority is able to control the other authority's power. That is the reason our Constitution of India provides for executive, legislature, judiciary, independent bodies in the constitution, outside the constitution. All this because we want to have a very good uh, uh, system of checks and balances. This ensures that there is a very good system of checks and balances. Okay, this is one thing that can be done. Okay, now the other way of ensuring a balanced institutional design and constitutionalism, preserving constitutionalism, is, see, constitution is written. A written constitution is drafted after a lot of thinking, after a lot of analysis and detail, a lot of deliberation, discussion, argument, and all, it is written and it is passed. Now, this constitution should be adaptable, but at the same time, it should be rigid. The reason why it should be adaptable is societal needs change, societal aspirations, societal ethos change. As societal needs, aspirations, and ethos change, the constitution should also be able to change itself, mold itself to the societal needs. Likewise, there will be some things that remain universal, that remain important forever. The core, the cornerstone. You might make any changes in your interiors, your building, construct new rooms, do anything, but the foundation should never be taken away. The foundation should remain intact because that is the essence of your constitution. The value premise of the constitution should remain intact. To ensure that the value premise of the constitution remains intact, you have to make it a little rigid. So, another way of ensuring that there is balance is combining rigidity and flexibility in amending the constitution. So, another intelligent way of ensuring balance is by ensuring that the constitution is rigid as well as flexible. Why are we talking about a balance of between rigid and flexible? Because what happens is if it is too rigid, then the constitution becomes redundant. It will break under the weight of change. Too flexible, it what happens is it will give no security. These things can be asked for prelims, guys, or identity to people. They will not be they will not be secured. It will not be given an identity because you can change anything. Today we are democracy, tomorrow we can become monarchy. Today we are republic, tomorrow we can become monarchy. Today we are federal, tomorrow you can convert it into unitary. So too flexible, what happens is, you change the core. When you change the core, there is a sense of insecurity. See, look at it like this. In my constitution, I know that there are certain values which can never be changed. So I am relaxed, I am secured. I know that this core will not change. At the same time, I understand that there will be changes in the society and the constitution should reflect these changes. Therefore, there will some changes can be easily made to the constitution. These changes will not affect the core of constitution. That is the reason why Indian constitution is a blend mixture of rigidity and flexibility. We made it as a mixture of rigidity and flexibility so that there is a balance between possibility of change and limitations on change. So here we are saying, Constitution of India is usually referred to as a living document, and it is a very robust living document. Why I'm calling it as a robust, strongly alive document? Because it effectively strikes a balance between one side, possibility to change, and the other side, limits on such changes. Okay. Now, one side, how do you change? The other side, you're telling how the change is limited. Okay. Possibility to change the constitution and limits on such change. This has ensured, hi Soumya, this has ensured that constitution ensures, by doing this, constitution ensures that it will survive as a document respected by people. It will become a document which has been respected by the people of the country. Okay, this will ensure, this entire arrangement. I am talking about two set of arrangements. One is rigidity and flexibility. Okay, the second is checks and balances between various authorities of government. Ultimately, these two will ensure that a section of or group can't on its own subvert, violate the constitution. So, here in this point, NCERT says that we need substantial balanced institutional design. By balanced institutional design, it is proposing 2 points. The first point it is proposing is about the checks and balances. You are creating so many authorities. Why are you creating so many authorities? You are creating so many authorities to ensure that there is a proper check and balance, to ensure that one authority does not become powerful. When it becomes too powerful, it will violate the constitution. It will disturb the basic premise, the value system of the constitution. That is the reason why you should not make a strong authority. Okay, you should actually divide the powers. This is one way of limiting the power. Okay, and the second is you should ensure that there is both the rigidity and flexibility in the provisions of the constitution in amending the constitution. Rigidity will ensure that the core values of the constitution with, with which a person identifies, a citizen identifies himself, is preserved. Flexibility ensures that the citizen's aspirations are taken care of, and thereby the citizen respects the document. And when I respect my constitution, I will follow my constitution. This is what this point says. I hope I made myself clear. Now, the next point that we are going to discuss, the next thing that it talks about, the NCERT book talks about, the next heading is the principle of deliberation, and the explanation given in NCERT is beautiful as far as this point is concerned. See, the basic understanding of this point, I'll tell you simply, in simple terms, I'll explain, and then I'll tell you the context of what NCERT says. See, when I am saying constituent assembly is a group of people. Okay, and this group of people have to take a decision. Now, when they have to take a decision, they will obviously take a decision through voting. There is no other method of taking the decision. The only way you take a decision is through voting. Okay, so you vote and you take a decision. Basically, this is how it happens. Now, when we say voting, out of 100 people, even if 51 agree, we say it is a majority. Okay, so getting a majority on the provisions of the constitution is not a big deal, be it 51 or 66. But the constitutional makers were very conscious about it. They did not want it to be just a majority, they wanted it to be consensus. Okay, they talked about consensus, meaning maximum agreement, maximum agree. I am not looking at one person or 50% or 60% agreeing. I want to ensure that each and every person who is sitting there right now, I want each and every person to agree to what is there. Okay, so I want them to have a consensus. I want a maximum agreement. Why this maximum agreement? Because they want the best to come. See, when I have 100 people and I have to convince all 100 people on my point, I have to discuss, I have to debate with them, I have to listen to what they have to say. I have to give my own reasons. Their reasons might convince me or I might get convinced. In the whole process, this whole churning out deliberation will ensure that the best comes out. What is good for people at large comes out. So, ultimately they wanted the best to come out. See, I represent a community. I represent women. I have the interests of women at the bottom of my heart. I have to carry that, but I also have to ensure that my interests are not in conflict with the larger interest of the society. So, in order to ensure that there is no domination of one interest over the common interest, they allowed deliberation. There was a lot of deliberation. Deliberation means a lot of talking, a lot of argument, a lot of discussion was allowed because they wanted everybody in the Constituent Assembly to agree to what was being proposed. Okay. Now, the reason why deliberation is important is we have to understand that India is a very diverse society. India being a diverse society, we had as representatives of their identity or community. As I said, I am a woman. So, as a representative of my identity or community, I have to look into the interests of the whole nation. I have to represent, there should be a balance between mm, aspirations of my community, okay, of my community and the whole nations. It is very whole nation. It is very important that I strike a balance. How do I strike a balance? To ensure that there is a balance, the Constituent Assembly members engaged in what is called as public reason. This is a very important concept. Engaged in public reason. Now, what do you mean by public reason? Public reason is where you debate in the open and you emphasize, is where there is emphasis on discussion and reasoned arguments. Okay. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar wanted the right to carry arms, weapons, arms, and ammunitions, arms. Many people objected to the right to carry arms. He gave his reasons why he wanted it in the constitution. Many people gave their reasons why they didn't wanted to be in the constitution. There was a discussion on both the sides. Finally they arrived at a conclusion that it is better we don't have the right to arms and ammunition. You won't believe every provision of the constitution has been widely discussed. There was huge amount of discussion on every provision of the constitution. Now, how did they discuss and have a reasoned argument? This is how they discussed and had a reasoned argument. They advanced their interest. Each member advanced their interest, but at the same time, but gave principled reasons, meaning, valid reasons. Now, when Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said the reservation, he gave valid reasons why there should be reservation. To other members, okay, on their proposals, whatever they are proposing, they gave valid reasons. Okay, this was very important. And please remember, every clause in the constitution was subject to lot of scrutiny, was subjected, nothing was passed just like that. The only provision where everybody agreed without a debate, without a discussion, was universal adult franchise. To a lot of scrutiny and debate. Okay, this was, lot of scrutiny and debate because they had to ensure that there is public reason. Okay, and this is so, the scrutiny of debate and discussion was so important. Now, every clause, there is only one exception to every clause. The only exception which was not widely discussed can be asked for bits, prelims, and CQ. Okay, one exception was universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise was the only thing in the entire constitution which was not subjected to a lot of debate and discussion. There was not much debate and discussion on universal adult franchise. Now, to conclude, these debates were so important that they had to be, they were preserved. They had these debates immortalized the making of the constitution. These debates deserved to be memorialized as one of the most significant chapters in the history of constitution making. Equal in importance to French and American constitutions. It is of great importance to French and American revolutions. Our debates of the Constituent Assembly are equated to the French and American revolutions. Why? Because so much of deliberation and discussion was involved that we equated. They have to be preserved, and they are indeed preserved. The debates, the discussions of the Constitution. There is a series made by Sham Benikal. Samvidhan is the series. You will just love the series. It is so beautiful on Rajya Sabha TV. It gives you a glimpse of how the Constitution of India was enacted. Okay, now the next thing that your NCERT talks about, the next heading that it talks about is procedures. All these are very relevant for the success of the Constitution. So, what are the procedures followed in the Constitution? By procedures, it is basically talking about the committee system. It talks about the committee system. I'm sure you all know that there were committees in Constituent Assembly. Committees were formed in Constituent Assembly. The reason for forming committees in public Constituent Assembly was also to adhere to public reason. Everything that is proposed should also be scrutinized, should also be debated and discussed. There were 8 major committees. And do you know these 8 major committees were most of the times headed either by Nehru or by Sardar Patel or by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who happens to be the President of the Constituent Assembly, or by the most important committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. A simple fact that people have kept aside, these leaders have kept aside their personal interests in the national interest. I'll just tell you a simple fact. I'm sure you all know that Ambedkar always criticized Congress for neglecting the downtrodden sections, for neglecting the backward sections of society, including SCs. Okay. However, when it comes to Constitution of India, despite these differences, despite the differences, they worked together in national interest. Together in national interest, okay, in the interest of the country as a whole, okay. And you also should remember that whatever was given by the committee, each committee's proposals were subjected to debate. Nothing was accepted just like that. In Constituent Assembly, there was a lot of scrutiny that was done. And please remember, it was not just subjected to the debate in Constituent Assembly. They were also open. They were open to public and press. These debates were widely publicized. They were open to public and press. They wanted to know the opinion of people and press.